What's up guys, War History Geek here, and welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be starting a new series I've been wanting to do for a little while now, focusing on individual medals and awards, describing their history and how they were issued and their collector's market and everything else. And today I figured we'd start with what has become a very popular medal, the Chernobyl Liquidator medal. Now these have become fairly popular online. However, I've thought that I could do the best job at, telling the exact specific military side of it in terms of issuance and on the military collector's market, what it's worth today, rather than just a general history. So we might as well start with the disaster. So on April 26th, 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, 80 miles or 130 kilometers north of Kyiv, Ukraine, exploded, causing the world's worst nuclear disaster. The accident occurred while an experiment was being conducted with the graphite-moderated reactor running. However, its emergency water cooling system turned off. A series of miscalculations permitted neutron buildup in one area of the core where the nuclear reaction suddenly went out of control. The power surge shattered the fuel. This and a second steam-induced explosion blew the lid off the reactor, whose containment structure was not designed for such pressures. A third chemical explosion followed and scattered fragments, which caused further local fires. Initially, the extent of the disaster was kept secret, with first responders being told that the radiation leak was minimal, therefore only entering with light gas masks and no special protective clothing, and only being awarded standard bravery medals such as the Fireman's Bravery Medal or other standard medals issued by the Soviet state. Additionally, the disaster occurred just before the regular 1st of May parade, which the Communist Party elite and government officials decided to hold anyway, resulting in thousands of people parading and breathing in radioactive particles instead of staying home. Despite the secrecy, international concerns began to rise as early as April 28, 1986, when radiation was discovered in Sweden and some other Western countries. Initially, 31 people were killed and approximately 500 others were immediately hospitalized. Over the next few days, all people living within 19 miles or 30 kilometers of the site were evacuated. However, by 1990, it was determined that several million people were still living on what could be considered contaminated soil. The concrete sarcophagus sealing Reactor 4 was started in May of 1986 and was completed 6 months later in November of 1986. Work continues on the site to this day, on efforts to contain the continued radiation leak, as well as what has become known as the Elephant's Foot. And the main containment facility was completed in 2016. So now that we've gotten the general history out of the way, let's focus on the medal now. So who received this medal? So the liquidators today are recognized as workers who entered contaminated areas between 1986 and 1989 to help reduce the consequences of the reactor explosion. Approximately 600,000 certificates were recorded as being issued with these medals. However, likely at least tens of thousands in addition to this number were produced, as many of these medals are still found and sold in unissued condition today. People serving in jobs such as operational personnel of the plant, Soviet air forces that were involved using helicopters and other air equipment to support the cleanup effort, firefighters that went in to fight the initial fire, civilian scientists, engineers, and workers that aided in the cleanup of said materials, civil defense troops of the Soviet military that worked in moving people out as well as securing the area, media professionals who were on the ground recording the event, and military, civil, and sanitation personnel such as police and other military forces and workers that went into, again, not only secure the area, move people out, as well as clean up things such as rotting food in the homes or buildings that were evacuated to keep the area clean, as well as putting down pets that were left behind in the irradiated zone by people that were evacuated. A detail that makes this medal additionally interesting is that typically Soviet medals were awarded by the government and always at the Kremlin or in local military commissariats, whereas the Chernobyl medal was awarded by Soviet factories or at the recipient's place of work. Now, I mentioned a certificate earlier, and I was able to find a high-definition scan of a certificate online. And as you can see here, this is what the certificate would have looked like. And the certificates are actually quite uncommon. Even though there was 600,000 according to the paperwork registered, today on the collector's market, although you can find the medals fairly regularly, the certificates are near impossible to find, especially ones that have been completed, such as this one. So the medal itself was issued in a plain cardboard box with white tissue paper inside, as you can see pictured in this picture. And as you can see here, the text surrounding the image in the center, going around this circle here. The text reads, "Participant of the liquidation of the consequences of accidents," with the 4A3C down here at the bottom, right here, 4A3C, indicating it is for the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The center of the medal depicts the trajectories of alpha, gamma, and beta radiation rays while assuming static and uniform magnetic electric fields as depicted by Lord Ernest Rutherford, the father of nuclear physics, in his book Radiations from Radioactive Substances, published in 1930. However, when comparing the rays depicted on the medal to the rays depicted in Rutherford's book, it becomes clear that the designer of the medal inadvertently switched the proper trajectories of alpha and beta radiation, thus making the depiction of the medal scientifically inaccurate. So as you saw just in the photograph there, you can see that this should be what this trajectory is, and vice versa. Now, these radiation trajectories are superimposed over a drop of blood that you can see here in the background, symbolizing the human health impacts of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Lastly, these designs are placed over top of a red cross here, symbolizing humanity, impartiality, neutrality, voluntary service, and unity among several other concepts of similar virtue. Interestingly, it's also worth noting that this medal is the only medal in the world that is awarded for participation in a nuclear cleanup. Now let's get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of this medal. So incorrect hangers and variations are far and wide on this medal. Now this small hanger variation here is the only properly recorded correct hanger for this medal. Now you'll see in a picture that I have up here that there are several other hangers that have been found on these medals. However, any other hangers that are seen on these medals are almost certainly added for sale purposes, to get some kind of variation what is already out there, to hopefully garner more sales. However, there are authentic examples of a badge form of this award with no hanger being present, which you can see in this photograph here. And I am unaware of when or how this particular version of the award was issued. However, we do know that it is an authentic award. Now, some other awards connected to this award are the 20th Anniversary Award, issued to surviving liquidators in 2006 by the Council of the Chernobyl Union of Russia, which you can see some pictures of here. It looks very similar to the original Chernobyl Liquidators medal. However, it does have a different emblem in the center, and then the certificate is also slightly different as well. There's also the 35-year anniversary medal that was also issued, on my assumption, to survivors of the liquidation process. Now, this was issued by the government of Ukraine, as far as I'm aware. However, I could be wrong, and I will add the correction here if I am incorrect by the time I publish this video. Additionally, there's also the military badge form of this award, and this was a military-specific award badge issued to military personnel who served as liquidators. So not only did they qualify for this universal award, however, they did also, in addition, receive a military-only badge that would be issued to them, which you can see pictures of here. Now, there are several other medals of multiple varieties that do exist that I believe are authentic. Now, I wasn't able to find much or any info on the issuance of these, or when they were issued, how many were issued, who received them, etc. However, I do believe that many of these are in fact authentic awards. This one particular one here, I was able to find on a forum post that from the son of the person who received it in 1988. Now, if these were issued by local municipalities or something else, I'm not sure. However, if you do see these, I do believe that these are authentic awards as well. Now, there's also the bronze tabletop medals, which I have found several versions of on eBay, and I'll have a couple of versions up here on the screen. Now, as for the authenticity of these, I am unsure. Judging by the age of it and also the design, it looks as if it would have been some kind of an anniversary award. As you can see, both of these have leaves on them, which is similar to the 20th anniversary medal, which, again, could be some kind of issuance. However, I have no idea if they are truly authentic or not, or if they were a fantasy piece made up to try and garner sales from Westerners, or they are authentic and were also different variations of the anniversary awards given. Then lastly, there's also the Ukraine medals, where the government of Ukraine, of course, because Chernobyl is located in Ukraine, the government of Ukraine has also issued several of their own awards and medals to participants as well as locals that lived in the area, etc., etc. Now, again, many of these are authentic. I believe some of them are likely fantasy pieces. However, many of these, if they come with a certificate, I believe they are authentic. And I do have a couple of images up here to show you some examples. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on some of these other variations, simply because this is a focus on the original Chernobyl Liquidators medal. I figured it was worth noting these, however. So that is for the variations. Now, moving on to the collector's market. So I mentioned earlier that you can find these. Now, these particular medals are uncommon but not rare. And what I mean by that is that they're not common in the sense that you're going to go and find them anywhere. However, if you look for them, you're going to be able to find them. Rarity would be something that you have to look for and you might not find. However, you will find these fairly easily if you do go out of your way to look for them. So a medal in a state like this, in good condition, with none of its packaging, not a certificate, you can find pretty regularly for $25 to $30. Now, with the original packaging being the box that I showed earlier, you can find these medals for $35 to $50 with the box. However, if you find it with the certificate, I was only able to find a couple of listings of this. You're probably talking $200 plus for something with an original certificate because of how rare they are these days. So please be careful of repros, however, because especially since the 2019 Chernobyl TV show that was released, interest shot up exponentially on these medals. You used to be able to purchase these medals before 2019 for less than $20 pretty regularly on its own. They were just another standard Soviet medal that you could find very easily, very affordably. However, as most things go in the military collector's field, when different pieces of pop culture are released in reference to certain historical events, people will begin buying them, and then prices will, of course, go up. However, this also then causes a market to be created for reproductions. And you'll see websites such as AliExpress or Temu selling these reproductions of the Chernobyl Liquidator medal. However, if you take a look here on the back, you will see that is what the back of the medal looks like. And then most importantly, up here, you will see this round, almost bezeling here on the back. And I'm not exactly sure what caused that from the manufacturing process. However, all authentic examples will have this round-looking production mark on the back of the hanger, as well as a very, very small production stamp directly under the pin back. So please be wary of these replicas. Soviet replica medals are becoming more and more common, unfortunately, and more people are becoming scammed by them. So If you're looking to purchase one of these Chernobyl Liquidator medals, please be sure to be educated on that and make sure to purchase an authentic one for your collection. So that's all I have for this medal. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button, and when you're in that area, hit the subscription button and notification bell. I hope that this video was not only educational and interesting to fellow military collectors, but anyone else that stumbles across this video interested in this particular medal history. Please make sure to leave what you think down there in the comments section. Also, for regulars on my channel, if you enjoyed this video, please tell me, and I will continue to make these medal videos. As I mentioned earlier, this is something that I've been interested in doing for a little while now, and I am happy to finally be able to do it. Alright, so that's all I have for this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!